Good morning. This is Steve Symes, your ATL Sherpa. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to give you a quick overview of some new websites that I've created. These are new tools to help people explore ATL. I think you know my mission is to help people connect with Atlanta's past, present, and future, and these new tools really help people do that. So the first one that we're looking at here is called Explore ATL Maps. And this is kind of a new dashboard that I've created that gives you access to a lot of different websites and other resources and educational tools that I've created over the years. So right here on the homepage, this is the one with the map here, this antique looking map. If we scroll down, you'll see what I mean about this dashboard. So right there below the introduction, you see a series of images and the names of these tools and these websites. So some of these are actually, most of them are their own websites. So if you click on any of these images, it'll take you to these tools. And I'm actually going to take you to 4 of them to kind of give you some the new ones, the ones that I've created here in the last couple of weeks, to give you a feel for some of the new content that I've created here. But let's just take a look real quick here. I'll kind of give you a quick summary of each one of these so you kind of know what to expect when you go actually to the websites. But this first one here, Explore Atlanta's Most Historic Places. This is a brand new website that I've created that has all of the historical markers in the city of Atlanta. And what I've done with this one is I've created a series of walking tours, or walking, biking, driving, depending on the distance and on your ability. So that's one of the ones I'm going to showcase here in a minute. So let me go on to the next one. Also, one I'm going to showcase here is called Explore Atlanta's Epic Culinary Scene. So this one's called atlfoodiemap.com, and I'm going to take you to that. That has a bunch of great restaurants, really all the top restaurants listed by different sections of town. The third one, also brand new, is called Explore ATL's Farmers Markets. The URL there is atlfarm.com. And again, I'll take you to that one just a minute, kind of show you what's on there. And then the fourth one that I've just created recently, and this is maybe 2 weeks ago, is called Explore ATL Battlefield. This is the Battle of Atlanta. This is a brand new website I've created that has a lot of really interesting information for people that are interested, and I'll take you to that one and give you a little more detail in a minute as well. But moving on here, Explore the Atlanta Freedom Trail. This is a website that I've created a couple of years ago during the pandemic. This one is a wonderful website. It's called, the URL is atlantafreedomtrail.com. And again, if you click on the image here with Martin Luther King, that sort of epic and famous sign that's, or I should say piece of art, it's over there on the Freedom Parkway Trail. That'll take you to that website. There's another one here called Explore Historic Inman Park, and that's just what it sounds like. This one is a web page on one of my websites, but it has some really interesting information, some beautiful photos of Inman Park. Another one here called Explore Historic Piedmont Heights. That's another neighborhood. It's not one of the most well-known neighborhoods in Atlanta, but it's one of the most historic. And this is a project I worked on a couple of years ago with that neighborhood. They had designed a tour, and I did a walking tour a few years ago, and there's some wonderful history and photos here that will give you a sense of just why and how historic this particular neighborhood is. It's the one with the cow there. Then I've got a wonderful webpage about Piedmont Park. Dozens and dozens of beautiful photos that I've taken over the years. So click on that one. That's Explore Historic Piedmont Park. Moving on, Explore Historic Peachtree Street. This is one of my favorite tours and one of the favorite projects I've ever worked on. I also worked on this actually just before the pandemic. In 2019, I developed a website, and this one's called, I believe it's peachtreestreettour.com. But if you click on that link there, that will take you to a wonderful website that has just an incredible amount of content, historical content, and it's basically a walk from downtown Atlanta, 5 Points, where the city started, all the way up to the High Museum and all the things that you see along the way. The next one is Meet the Black Leaders of Atlanta. Another one of these projects that I developed during the pandemic. It's called, the URL is BLATL That stands for Black Leaders of Atlanta, BLATL.com. Again, if you click on the picture there of President Obama and John Lewis, you will see that website. It's a wonderful tour with a lot of interesting elements to it. It's really an educational tool for exploring the city and getting to know these extraordinary individuals. The next one is Meet Atlanta's Women of Distinction. And that's just what it sounds like. Another project that I developed during the pandemic. And this is a wonderful website that has information about women that literally made a lasting impression on the city of Atlanta by virtue of the fact that they've named streets after them or buildings or parks. And this tour takes you out into the city to connect with these women, to get to know them a little bit better. And again, there's some interesting tools. There's a passport and a quiz that you can take to enhance the learning process. I think you'll enjoy that one. And that URL is atlwod.com. That stands for Atlanta's Women of Distinction. A wonderful photo tour. This is a kind of a photo essay that I put together. It's the one there with John Wesley Dobbs' beautiful sculpture, which is there on John Wesley Dobbs Plaza on Auburn Avenue. It says, "Feel the history of a long, sweet Auburn," and you will understand what I mean when you click on that link. I've got some just incredible photos that I've taken on my many walks down Auburn Avenue. Moving on, the 10 must-see treasures of MLK National Historical Park. This is actually a blog post, a long-form blog post that I did about a year ago for the MLK holiday, and I've got, again, dozens of photos, beautiful photos that I've taken there at the MLK National Historical Park. I encourage you to click on that, and I describe the 10 what I consider to be the must treasures of that fantastic facility. The next one is Uncover the Treasures of Georgia's State Capitol. This is part of the Atlanta Freedom Trail project that I talked about a few minutes ago. But this particular page that focuses on the state capitol contains many dozens of photos that I've taken or that I took when I did this project, both of the grounds of the Capitol as well as the interior of the Capitol. And I really got some fantastic photos. I've got, especially I spent a couple hours on the grounds of the Capitol and took photos of every marker, every monument that I could find, and not just every facade of every marker. So there's incredible detail that's out there. So this is a really cool way to get to explore the grounds of the Capitol, without going out there on your own if for whatever reason you can't do that. This next one, which is called Celebrate Freedom in Atlanta's Liberty Plaza, this is one of my favorite areas to explore because it's an area that most people don't even know exists, and it's right next to the Capitol. There's a wonderful park, if you will. It's a gathering place, and it was designed and created to be an assembling place for people that wanted to go out and demonstrate or express their views or whatever, active people that wanted to go out and assemble and march. That's what it was designed for, and that's right next to the Capitol. It's actually just east of the Capitol, if you will. And what you're looking at there is a beautiful photo. I just got some fantastic light that day of what we call the Liberty Bell, and that is an exact replica of the Liberty Bell that's in Philadelphia, and it's one of 53 exact replicas that were cast in France and given to each of the states and these territories of the United States. So that is the one for Georgia. But that whole plaza has all kinds of really interesting information, and I've featured that. That is part of the Atlanta Freedom Trail project that I created, but that particular area I think is really interesting. And right adjacent to that is another fantastic place that most people don't even know exists. It's the Pete Wheeler Georgia War Veterans Memorial. And so the beautiful cast bronze sculpture there with the boots for the unknown soldier is one of the many things that you'll see over there. That is a very solemn place and one that I encourage you to visit when you get a chance. So click on that and you'll get a lot more detail. Moving on here, discover the secrets of the Carter Center. There is a beautiful photo there of the grounds of the Carter Center in the fall that I took a few years ago, overlooking the lake that's there. That is one of the highest points in Atlanta, and you can see the views there of Atlanta. I encourage you to click on that. Again, this is another stop on the Atlanta Freedom Trail Tour, but this particular page will take you to a treasure chest of information that that will help you discover the secrets that most people don't even know exist. I'm talking about the grounds of the Carter Center and the Jimmy Carter Library, the land that's around it. There's just some amazing things to see there. That's why I call them secrets, because very few people know about them. The next one is explore historic Olmstead Linear Park, one of my favorite parks in all of Atlanta. Again, it's kind of a less traveled park because there's not really, you can't go park and get out of your car and walk along it. You have to kind of walk or bike to it because there's really not any parking. But the Olmstead Linear Park is actually a series of parks, of segments, if you will, that all together make a linear park. And those are the green spaces that you see along Ponce de Leon Avenue as you're leaving the city of Atlanta, the city limits, and heading into Druid Hills and going toward Decatur. You probably noticed that. Those are the Olmstead Linear Parks, named after Frederick Law Olmsted Sr., the granddaddy of landscape architecture, who lived in the late 1800s. And he was also the guy the landscape architect that designed the neighborhood of Druid Hills. And those parks are literally the centerpiece of his blueprint that he designed for Joel Hurt, who was the developer of Druid Hills. So click on that and you'll learn a lot of real interesting information. Get to see some beautiful photographs. The next one is called Explore Atlanta's Red Hot Ring of Fire. This is a series of blog posts, very, very elaborate. Again, these so-called long form blog posts that I did back during the pandemic. This pertains to all of the massive, I call it transformative real estate development that's taking place in downtown Atlanta. I call it the Ring of Fire. It's basically the area that surrounds what some people call the Gulch, which is where the city got started. It's kind of the origins of the city. That is, if you're into development and real estate and all the things that are going on there, that's a very intricate project that I created that includes all kinds of information about these transformative developments, but also I did a Google Earth virtual tour of this land, of this area. So you can fly into and see an aerial view of these different projects. It's fascinating. The next one is called Explore ATL's, or Atlanta's, West Side Trail, and I'm talking there about the Atlanta Beltline West Side Trail over on the west side of Atlanta. That photo there is a group of bikers that I took a couple years ago when it just first opened the trail. I did a biking tour over there, but there's some real interesting information here. The map that is associated with this project is one of the most viewed maps I've ever created. It's a multimedia map that I've created that features dozens of videos that I recorded while I was riding down the West Side Trail. I've got instructions on how to access the West Side Trail from all the MARTA stations. I mean, it really helps connect all the dots and gives you a lot of information about the West Side Trail. Then the last one so far here is that I've created so far is called Explore Atlanta's Freedom Park, which is again one of the stops on the Atlanta Freedom Trail. And so I've featured some beautiful photos that I've created here. This is one of my favorite places to bike and walk in the city of Atlanta, because even though it's right in the city and it's all in these in-town neighborhoods, and it actually crosses the Atlanta Beltline sort of perpendicular, if you will. And it actually crosses over the East Side Trail right there in the park, if you know where that is. But because it's a little off the beaten path. And again, it's not a park where you can go park your car and get on it. You have to kind of ride to it. Although you can park at the Carter Center and get on the Freedom Park, the Freedom Park trails there. But it's a fantastic place to bike and walk because it's off the beaten path. It's, you know, it's got literally a fraction, like 1% of the traffic that you find on the Atlanta Beltline. So really a great place to bike and walk. So what I'm going to do, because of the length of this video, this presentation, I'm going to wrap up this presentation and just call this the summary of my new Explore Atl Maps website and all the different things you can find here. And then I'll record some other videos that will take us to some of these individual websites that I was talking about. Anyway, I hope you find these tools helpful. I hope you find this website helpful. If you do, please share it with your friends, share it on social media, and most of all, use it to go out there and connect with Atlanta. Again, the URL for this website is exploreatlmaps.com. Thanks for your interest and have a great day. This is Steve, your ATL Sherpa.